Hey guys, I'm finally back, and today I'll be checking out normal German names you won't believe are real. This seems like an interesting topic, and I want to know what are those names. Is it gonna shock me? Because I know that there are names that Germans hate, which are Kevin. Was it Kevin? And Chantel. So yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm sure I know Chantal is one of it. But yeah, let's get into that.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, it is so great to have you. I'm Antoinette and I make videos talking about my life and my experiences as a New Zealander living in Germany. So this video today is just going to be fun, light-hearted. It's not meant to be taken too seriously. I am going to be sharing 5 normal everyday German names that you won't believe are real. So over the years I've lived in Germany, I have heard quite a few German names where at first
Oh.
I did not think they were real names. I thought maybe they were characters in movies or stories or just nicknames. I just did not think these were proper, serious names. And I am going to be sharing them with you today. And I am not making this video to make fun of these names. Like, some of
I'm
these
sure,
names are
yeah.
actually really cool and I actually like these names. But at first they were just a little bit foreign to my native English speaking ears. Okay, so let's jump right into it. In no particular order, the first German name that I did not think was real when I first heard it is the name Wolfgang. This is actually
What?
quite an old-fashioned name in Germany, but I have
That's a
definitely met
restaurant.
people as young as maybe late 30s, early 40s with the name Wolfgang. The first time
What
I
the
ever heard the
heck?
name Wolfgang was not long after I arrived in Germany, and I was actually at my husband's friend's place, and I kept hearing the name Wolfgang pop into their conversations.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
honestly thought Wolfgang was the name of a video game character. I thought it was like some kind of a superhero
It kind of
name,
sound
and I
like
just didn't
it.
really think anything of it. I thought they were just talking about video games. And then I was introduced to my husband's friend's stepdad, and I remember him putting out his hand saying, "Nice to meet you, I'm Wolfgang."
Oh
And
my
I was
gosh,
thinking, that must be
interesting.
Wolfgang. Okay, it makes sense. But I still didn't think that that was a real name. I thought it was
I'll be
his nickname.
surprised
He was like
too.
this tall, masculine man with tattoos, and he rode a motorbike, and I just thought that
Wow.
was his nickname, and I thought it was really cool, like just like a really sort of badass nickname. And I remember saying to Rob, "That's actually a really cool nickname, it really suits him." And Rob was like, "That's his real name." And I was like, "No, it's not." He was like,
I thought it's just a nickname. What the heck? So his real name is really Wolfgang? I've never heard of that before. I mean, I've heard that in a restaurant as I've heard that as a restaurant name, but not like as a real person. Why would you do that? Like, why would their parents name their kid like that? It's a very cool name, but it's a bit weird. It's like a
"Yeah, that's just
character.
a normal name here in Germany, Wolfgang." And I honestly
Really?
did not believe him. I was like, "Are you serious? That's a real name, Wolfgang?" I still thought Rob was joking, so I had to Google it. And sure enough, it's just a normal, regular German
Oh my
male name.
gosh.
And it actually means traveling wolf. And over the
Oh.
years I've lived in Germany, I have met quite a few Wolfgangs. I've met Wolfgangs from all walks of life, from bikers to older
Interesting.
gentlemen. And yeah, it's just one of those names that it took me a while to wrap my ears around it. And now that I'm used to it, for me, it is also just a normal name. So the next
That's
German
so
name that I did
interesting.
not believe was real when I first heard it is actually a female name. This is not a name you hear so much these days. You don't meet a lot of children with this name, but I have met quite a few adults, sort of 40 and upwards, with this name. This is the name Silke. So before I actually heard this name, I saw
What?
it written down, and
It's like
I
a
just
silk?
automatically thought you pronounce the name Silky, as in like
Silky.
silky hair
Yeah.
or silky fabric or, something like that. I
I've
just thought it was
never heard of
Silky,
that.
and I didn't think it was a real name. It was
Yeah.
actually on a list of names of
Whoa.
parents at my daughter's kindergarten. But the way Germans pronounce it is more like Silke, sort of like with
Silky.
a Z rather than an S. I remember saying to Rob, "Silky." is that her real name? And Rob was like, yeah, it's a normal name in Germany, but it's pronounced Silke. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And I was like, wow, that's actually really cute, Silke. And the only time I'd ever heard the name Silky, as I would pronounce it in English, is in a book that I used to read when I was a little girl called The Faraway Tree by Enid Blyton. And I actually read this book to my kids as well. And there was a little fairy called Silky, and she was
Oh,
like a beautiful little fairy. It
never
just took
heard
me a
of
little
that.
while to wrap my ears
Never.
around the name and the way it was pronounced, and to think of it as an actual person's name rather than a character.
Interesting.
Okay, so the next German name I
Never heard of that name, and that's really, really odd for me. No, I'm not against to people that have that name. It's just weird because I've never heard that before. Very interesting.
did not believe was a real name when I first heard it
Yeah,
is the name Hella. It is a
I
female
think
name
I've
and
heard
it's
this
actually quite
one.
popular here in
Hello.
Germany. I have met a couple of Hellas, but I have heard the name quite a bit. Like you
Yeah,
just see it
yeah.
around, you hear it, and it's just a regular, everyday German name. When I first heard it, once again, I thought it was a nickname. I didn't think it was a real name because Hella, for me, as a native English speaker, I automatically think of hell, which is, the
Oh,
opposite of
yeah.
heaven and hell. And I just thought it was sort of like a joke. It turns out it's not. It's a real name, like a solid German
Oh
name.
my
Also, the word
gosh.
Hella in the English language is kind of just thrown around as slang. And
Hell
not so much
yeah.
these days, but I remember when I was a teenager, you'd often say, oh, that was hella cool. And it
Mm-hmm.
just means, that was like really cool.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think of Hella as, a serious name. And then as I
I actually heard that before. Hella is a name. I'm not sure where, but I've heard it. So I'm not really surprised about that one. But it's still an interesting name for a person. Maybe I would think of it as a nickname, but not as your real name. Hmm. Yeah.
started learning the German language, I realized that the name Hella is actually quite a nice name.
Yeah.
And it has a much different meaning to what I initially thought the name meant. So the actual meaning of the name Hella is bright light, which is so beautiful. I think that is just the most beautiful meaning for a name. And it
is
makes total
beautiful.
sense because the German word hell translates in English to bright light.
Wow.
Once I realized this, the name Hella just automatically sounded so much more beautiful to me. So I associated
I agree.
Hella with light instead of darkness. Okay, so the next German name I did not believe was real when I first heard it. That is the name Uwe. And I remember first
What?
hearing this name not long after I arrived in Germany. I was watching a TV program and there was a character on, it was like a reality TV show called Uwe. And I just thought that is a very unusual name, Uwe. I think it's considered kind of a high-class, prominent name in Germany because I have come across sports stars and politicians and businessmen with the name Uwe. Just by looking at the name, the way it is spelled, I would not have been able to pronounce this name at all if I hadn't have heard it. And so,
me too.
Yeah, for English speakers, this name sounds really unusual and it doesn't actually sound like a name. The meaning of the name Uwe is heritage, which I think is really nice and it gives a lovely meaning. So yeah, the name has definitely grown on me, but when I first heard it, it was very sort of foreign to my ears and I didn't really think of it as a name. I just didn't really know what it was, like Uwe. It just, it sounded just unusual to me. Okay.
It kind of sounds like an Uber, like something like that. The way she pronounces it. But yeah, I think it's a cool name. Never heard of that one, like never. Interesting.
So last but not least is a German masculine name that you will most likely hear in the older generation in Germany, but it is quite a common name here, and that is the name Helmut. So
What?
helmet, for me, automatically, as an English speaker, I think of helmet, like a
Yeah,
helmet that you wear when you're riding your bike.
I was gonna say
And
that.
it just sounded a little bit funny to me when I first heard it. But after
Oh
living in
gosh.
Germany for a while, I would hear the name Helmut pop up quite often, and I became quite used to it. I actually remember meeting the loveliest old man with the name Helmut. This is when I first sort of started learning German, and I was trying my best to spark up conversations with people. And we were sitting at a bus stop, and I was chatting to him, and he was so lovely to me. I just remember
Oh,
this man introducing himself as Helmut, and
helmet.
he was just so patient with me because at that time my German wouldn't have been very good. And so he was very happy for me to practice my German with him. I think he
That would be
probably had a lot
fun.
of time on his hands and he was enjoying the company. But I will never forget this lovely old man called Helmut. And since then,
Interesting
I just think
name.
it is a lovely name. And I probably wouldn't call my child Helmut, but I think it's a very nice, sort of
Me
respectable
too.
name for an older German gentleman. The meaning of the name Helmut is actually brave protector, and I think that is such a beautiful, strong meaning. When I first heard the name, I
Interesting.
just thought of helmet, like a helmet that you wear on your head, and I thought this can't be
Yeah.
a real name. But now, when I hear the name Helmut, I think of that lovely gentleman that I met at the bus stop and the beautiful meaning of the name brave protector. So, guys, that's all
Brave.
I've got for this
Oh.
video today. It was just a fun, light-hearted video. I really hope you enjoyed it.
I think I like that one. I like the meaning of that name. Brave. But yeah, I don't think I would name my child that way because it would sound like helmet. But yeah, those names are really interesting. I've never heard of them except the Hela, which is interesting, meaning bride. I forgot what exactly called, but yeah, something bride. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.